Today, I will be talking about one of the most exhilarating experiences in the world. Today, I will be talking about scuba diving. So what is scuba diving? Scuba diving is self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, scuba. It is a way to breathe underwater for longer times than free diving or just swimming. It's being completely independent from the surface while diving, and it is one of the most incredible experiences in the world. Less than 1% of the world is certified to scuba dive, and less than 1% of Americans are certified under PADI open water diving. So there are three main points of scuba diving, and during this presentation I will be showing you all three. The equipment, what is needed, the procedures, what to do, and how to stay secure from and stay safe due to hazards and risks. So let's begin with the equipment. We begin with the breathing apparatus, the open circuit diving regulator, and the oxygen tank itself. The regulator is this mouthpiece that hooks to the tank, and the oxygen tank holds pressurized air. Buoyancy control is another part of the equipment through the use of the BCD. The BCD carries hoses on it, weight pockets, air bladders, and inflator hoses, which all allow the diver to increase their buoyancy or decrease the buoyancy through the inflation-deflation of the BCD itself. The BCD also holds the tank at the very back. The mask and fins, probably the most famous just due to scuba and snorkeling. The half mask is very popular, and fins are used for mobility and sight. So there are some dangers to the dive which we will go over now. Now that we know what the equipment is, we can talk about what the dangers are. So we'll talk about some hazards first. Using a pressurized container for air in an underwater setting is dangerous inherently, but the pressure changes during ascent or descent are hazards. Specific environmental factors like sharks or currents and competence of the individual diver. So there might be emergencies when you're diving, like regulator malfunctions, out of air incidents, face mask falling off, the loss of consciousness, the loss of buoyancy control, and insufficient decompression. We can get rid of all of these through the use of proper procedures. Again, with risks, we have buddy separation, emergency ascent, rough water, and entanglement. The buddy separation is incredibly risky because you need your buddy to always be there so you can check on each other, make sure you're safe. The emergency ascent is dangerous because you might get the bend, which is when you ascend too fast and the pressure in your blood does not match the pressure around you. Rough water can lead to tiredness and exhaustion in the diver, which can lead to some of the hazards that we just went over. The entanglement might be a fishing net, it might be something else, but if the diver is entangled, that is a risk. So we don't have to go over these dangers and hazards. Let's go over the procedures to make sure we know how to stay safe while diving. We begin with the preparations for the dive. We attach the tank to the BCD and the regulator. So that means connecting this oxygen tank on the diver to the BCD that he's wearing, and then the regulator to the top of the tank. When you connect the regulator itself, you have to check the air in the tank, which is our next point. You have to make sure when you're beginning the dive that you have 3,000 PSI, and that is enough for about an hour of diving, which is the beginning certification through PADI open water diving. And then, once you check the air in the tank, you're going to slip your mask and fins on before you put the BCD, so you have mobility and the ability to put the mask and fins on your face and feet, and you don't have the giant oxygen tank on your back. During the dive, you're always going to enter the water with a stride jump. You're always, and this is consistently throughout the dive, checking the amount of air in the tank. This is extremely important. You never want to dip below 500 psi and never want to get anywhere near 0. You're going to be diving with a buddy to stay safe, make sure the other diver is safe. And you're going to be equalizing pressure constantly and decompressing when coming up so you don't have the bends, like I discussed earlier. And if applicable, if your face mask falls off or your regulator becomes a little bit muddled, you can clean the mask or regulator during the dive. In a commercial setting and PADI open water would prefer debriefs on the dive itself. That means after the dive is done, everybody talks to the dive master and says what they saw, is there any difficulties, etc. There's going to be equipment maintenance right after the dive, make sure everything's cleaned and properly put away, and logging each dive. PADI open water requires that divers should log each dive to make sure dive masters that look at their record can see how many dives they've had, where they dived, and their skill level in diving. So we go to our summary, which is scuba diving needs which begins with the equipment. Scuba diving needs very specific equipment that may be confusing, but once you get into more detailed execution, can be very simple. We have the basic hazards, and that safety is the most important part of diving. And then, if you follow the procedures, you can stay safe and have a wonderful dive. So here are my 3 sources. I have PADI Open Water Diving Manual, which is the base set. Only people 15 or older can be certified in the United States under PADI Open Water. We have the Swimming and Diving Safety by the CDC to make sure divers know how to stay safe. And the Diving and Snorkeling Oceans, Coasts, and Seashores by the U.S. National Park Service to make sure you know where you're going to dive and what the hazards and the look around will look like. So the next time you're going to visit the deep blue sea of our humble little blue dot, consider trying to get scuba certified, and so you can visit all the wonders that lie beneath our oceans.